Hey guys, today we're going to be building a currency converter app using Python. If you're new to coding or just looking for a cool beginner project, this one is perfect. We're going to be working with user input, functions, and APIs to fetch live exchange rates from the internet. So without any further ado, let's get started. Before we even get started coding, we need to install something called the request library. This library allows our Python program to talk to the internet and get real-time exchange rate data. So go ahead and open your terminal or command prompt and type pip install requests and click enter. Once it's done, we're going to start building our program. The first thing we're going to do is import the module we just installed. So I'm going to say import requests. What this does is it imports the request module into our script, which gives us access to a bunch of tools for sending HTTP requests. Next, we're going to be creating a function that's going to be responsible for getting the exchange rates between the two currencies. So we're going to define a function called exchange rate. This function is going to take in two parameters, base currency and target currency. These are just placeholders for the currency code that the user will type in, like USD or EUR. Inside the function, we're going to build a URL that talks to the API. This line creates a URL by using the F string and inserting the base currency into it. So if the user types USD, the final URL will have USD at the end. That's the URL we'll send a request to. Next, I'm going to create a variable called response, and I'm going to set this variable equal to request.get in this parentheses URL. Here we're using the request.get function to actually send requests to that URL. The data we get back is saved in this variable called response. I'm going to create another variable called data, and I'm going to set it to response.json. This .json will help us convert the response into a Python dictionary, which will make it easier for us to work with the data easily. Now we're going to check if the target currency exists in the data. So we're going to say if target currency in data, and in this square brackets we're going to have rates. If it exists, then return data rates target currency. Basically, we grab the exchange rate and then return it back to the user. But if it doesn't exist, maybe they typed the wrong code, we return none. So this function either gives us the exchange rate or returns nothing if the currency code is invalid. Now we're going to create another function that will use the exchange rate to convert one currency to another. We're going to call this function convert currency. It takes in three parameters: the amount of money that the user wants to convert, the base currency, and the target currency. Inside this function, we call the previous function we just wrote. We're storing the result from the get exchange rate into this variable called rate. Now we're going to check if the rate exists. So we're going to say if rate. If we get a valid exchange rate, we calculate the result like this: return amount times rate. So we simply multiply the exchange rate and return it. But then if there was an error, we're going to return this message. So we're going to say else return invalid currency code. And that's it for the conversion function. Alright, now we're going to create the part where the user actually interacts with the program. We're going to use a while loop so that the program keeps running until the user chooses to exit. So when I start with while true, this means that the loop is going to keep running forever unless we decide to break out of it. We're going to have a print statement. In this print statement, we're going to say currency converter on a new line. Now let's ask the user to input the base currency. We're going to create a variable called base, and we're going to set it to input, enter the base currency. At the end, we're going to have .upper to make sure that the input is always in capital letters. Next, we're going to ask for the currency they want to convert to. We're going to create a variable called target. We're going to set it to equal to input, enter the target currency, and at the end we're going to have a .upper. So the same thing here, we're going to have the target currency and make it uppercase. Then we're going to ask for the amount. So we're going to create another variable and we'll call it amount, and we're going to set it equal to float, input, enter the amount to convert. Here we're wrapping it in this try block because the user might type something that's not a number. We want to convert the input to a float and store it in the amount variable. Then we need to do the conversions. We're going to create a variable called result, and we're going to set it to convert currency, and in these parentheses we're going to have amount and then print base amount is equal to the result target. We call our convert currency function and display the result using an F string. Now let's handle errors. We're going to start off by saying except value error, print please enter a valid number. This part catches invalid input, like if the user typed a letter instead of a number, it shows a friendly message prompting them to actually enter a number. Now at the end of each loop, we're going to ask the user if they want to do another conversion. So we're going to create another variable and call it again. We're going to set this variable equal to input, do you want to convert another currency, yes or no? We're going to convert the response to lowercase so we can check it easily. Then we're going to say if again is not equal to yes, print Thanks for using the currency converter, goodbye, and then break. And that's our full currency converter app. Now we have learned how to fetch real-time data using APIs. We have worked with user input, handling errors and try and accept, and then made a loop that keeps the program running until the user decides to quit. So you can take the project even further by adding a GUI with Tkinter or even a web version using Flask. I will leave the API link in the description of this video. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications to never miss a new upload. Also, if you have any questions or any feedback or anything, comment them down below. And until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.